Hey, what's up guys, it's DarkArmedDuelist and taking doing an evil hero deck profile. So I'm really excited to do some for you guys because this deck is an extremely fun deck to play that can easily OTK your opponent using all of your awesome evil heroes. So without further ado, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell near so you can become part of the notification squad, and definitely check out the Patreon down in the description below for all those awesome rewards. So without further ado, let's go and get straight on into this. So first off, we're playing 3 copies of a Dusted Gold. A Dusted Gold is definitely a 3 of in the build because this card can search so many different cards in the deck. With the ability, you can discard this card to add a Dark Fusion or a card that specifically lists Dark Fusion in its text from your deck to your hand, except another copy of this card, which is an insane ability to instantly grab any card that you need off this card's effect. We then play 2 copies of Dead in Prison. Dead in Prison is really good as a 2 of in the build because this card is basically a fusion substitute monster, with the ability that if you control a fusion monster that must be special with Dark Fusion, you can special summon this card from the hand. You can also send a hero monster from your deck to the graveyard, and if you fusion summon a hero monster this turn, this face-up card can be used as a substitute for a material that's mentioned on that card by name, but all the other materials must be correct. This card is definitely a 2-0 in the build and helps us step into so many different cool fusion plays. We then play a single copy of Toxic Bubble. Toxic Bubble is a really good extender in this deck that also helps us draw cards, which you really only need a single copy of this card in the deck. It has the ability you can special summon this card from your hand, but you cannot special summon for the rest of the turn except for hero monsters. Also, if this card is special summoned and you control a fusion monster that must be special with Dark Fusion, you can draw 2 cards, which is a great effect just to help us dig into the deck for the exact card we need so we can keep going in for our fusion plays. We then play a single copy of Sinister Necrom. Sinister Necrom helps out a lot in this build, but again, you only need a single copy in the deck, as you can banish this card from your graveyard to special summon an evil hero monster from your hand or your deck, which is a great ability to instantly bring out the exact evil hero you need to step into your fusion plays. We play a single copy of Infernal Rider. Infernal Rider is really good as a 1-of in the build and has an awesome effect that actually helps you get to super polymerization, with the ability, if it's normal or special summon, you can actually add a Dark Fusion from your deck or graveyard to your hand, and you can also banish this card and 4 other monsters from your graveyard to set a super polymerization directly from your deck. Also, you cannot special summon except for hero monsters, but you can fusion summon monsters that must be special summoned with Dark Fusion using other card effects, and these effects last into the end of your opponent's turn, meaning we can use that super poly to step into an evil hero monster, which is really cool. We play a single copy of Vicious Claws. Vicious Claws is great as a 1-of in the build because this card is just an awesome extender, as this card lets you target a hero monster on the field, special summon this card from your hand in defense position, and if you do, that monster gains 300 attack points, which doesn't seem like a lot, but it does give us an additional 2,500 attack point monster on our side of the field to help us step into all sorts of insane plays. This card also has a once per duel effect that if a monster you control is destroyed by battle of our card effect, while this card's in the graveyard, you can special summon this card. Then, if you have a monster that mentions Dark Fusion in your graveyard, you can destroy a card in the field non-targeting, which is an insane ability. But this card is definitely a 1-of in the build. We then play a single copy of Elemental Hero Neos. Neos is such a powerful combo piece in the deck to help you step into your copy of Neos lore, and it's just an awesome 1-of in the build that you can use in the deck to step into all sorts of different insane plays. We then play 2 copies of Elemental Hero Stratos. Stratos is great as a 2-of in the build because this card has the ability, when it's summoned, you get to add a hero monster from your deck to your hand, grabbing the exact card that you need. We then play a single copy of Shadow Mist. Shadow Mist is an extremely important 1-of in the build, as if this card does touch the graveyard, you get to add a hero monster from your deck to your hand, which is a great ability to grab the exact card you need off of Shadow Mist. We then play 2 copies of Vision Hero Vion. Vision Hero Vion is great as a 2-of in the build because if this card is normal or special summon, you can actually send a hero monster from your deck to the graveyard, and once per turn you can actually banish a hero monster in the graveyard to add a polymerization from your deck to your hand, which is such a powerful effect to be able to use your copy of Shadow Mist to send it to the graveyard, search out a hero monster of Shadow Mist, and then banish Shadow Mist to be able to search out your copy of polymerization, helping you step into your fusion plays, which is so cool. We then played 3 copies of Ash Blossom. Ash Blossom's definitely a 3-of in the build, just to stop the opponent from touching the deck. We then also played 2 copies of Nibiru. Nibiru is great in this build as a 2-of. This card lets you break your opponent's board, but it also helps us step into Dark Gaia, which is insane. So, that's it for the monsters, guys. Let's get into the spells. So for the spells, we're going to start with a single copy of Rhoda. Rhoda is really good as a 1-of in the build to help us search out the exact warrior we need from our deck to our hand. We can play a single copy of Foolish Burial. Foolish Burial helps out a lot in this deck to help us get our monsters in the graveyard, which is just such a cool ability to help us send cards to the graveyard like Shadow Mist or Sinister Necrom. We can play a single copy of Called by the Grave. Call of the Grave is really good as a 1-of in the build to basically just use this card to stop your opponent's hand traps while you're going in for all of your plays. We play a single copy of Dark Fusion. Dark Fusion is an insane 1-of in the build that helps us stem to all of our fusion plays in this deck, and definitely give us a like for this gorgeous ultimate rare. I absolutely love this card. It looks so good, and it's just a really awesome ulti to be able to play in this deck. We play a single copy of Dark Calling. Dark Calling is basically like a Miracle Fusion, which is really good in this particular build, as this card has the ability to let you fusion summon a fusion monster from your extract that must be special with Dark Fusion by banishing the fusion materials mentioned on it from your hand and or graveyard, which is a great effect to instantly bring up the exact fusion monster that you need. We play a single copy of Dark Contact. Dark Contact is really good as a 1-of in the build and helps out a lot to basically just recycle our resources to step into a fusion play. The ability, you can activate one of these effects, but you can only use each effect of this card once per turn, but you're only ever using the ability to be able to fusion summon a fusion monster from your extract that must be special with Dark Fusion by shuffling its materials from your field, graveyard, or banishment into the deck. And this is treated as a fusion summon with Dark Fusion, which is a great ability. Or you can use this effect to add a Dark Fusion from your deck to your hand, which you're usually just using this card to be able to put the materials back to step into a fusion play. We play a single copy of Polymerization. Polymerization is great in the deck, and it is searchable off your copy of Vion, which is why we just play a single copy in the build, but this card is extremely important in the deck to help us step into our fusion plays. We then play a single copy of Miracle Fusion. Miracle Fusion is really good as a 1-of in the build to basically just use this card to step into a bunch of really cool plays, plus it's searchable off your copy of Sunrise, so this card is definitely a 1-of in the build. We then play a single copy of Super Polymerization. Super Poly is definitely a 1-of in the build because you can easily get to this card with your copy of Infernal Rider, but it's really cool to actually play this card in the deck to help you break your opponent's board, and it's such a powerful 1-of. We then play 3 copies of Evil Assault. Evil Assault is definitely a 3-of in the build, and just such a powerful card in the deck to let you discard a card and then take a level 4 or lower evil hero monster from the deck and either add it to your hand or special summon it, which is an insane effect to instantly bring out the exact evil hero that you need to your side of the field. This card also has a great effect that for the rest turn, after this card resolves, you cannot special summon the extract except heroes, which is totally fine, but in this card is in your graveyard except the turn it was sent there. You can banish this card in the graveyard to add a Dark Fusion from your graveyard to your hand, which is a great effect to help you recycle your copy of Dark Fusion off of Evil Assault. We then play 3 copies of A Hero Lives. A Hero Lives is great to help us special summon out our copy of Stratos to our side of the field, so we can basically go in for all of our plays, because our copy of Stratos will actually search any of our evil hero monsters, which is great. So this card is just really good to help us summon out Stratos. We then play 3 copies of Forbidden Droplets. Droplets is amazing in the build just to help you break your opponent's board by halving the attack points of your opponent's monsters, and also using this card to negate your opponent's monsters' effects so we can go in for game. So, that's it for the spells, guys. Let's get into the traps. So for the traps, we're going to start with a single copy of Dark Supremacy. Dark Supremacy is really good as a 1-of in the build, and helps out a lot in this deck, because this card has the ability you can target face-up cards your opponent controls up to the number of Dark Fusion and spell cards that mention it in your graveyard, and negate their effects until the end of the turn, which is such a powerful ability to be able to use, to basically use this card as a multiple negate on the field. Also, if this card is in your graveyard except the turn it was sent there, you can actually banish him and then target up to 5 hero monsters in the graveyard and or banishment and shuffle them into the deck, which is a really powerful ability to help you recycle your resources. Then lay a single copy of Favorite Contact. Favorite Contact is really good in the build as a 1-of, because this card is searchable off your copy of Infernal Rage. So you can basically summon a Shining Neo Swingman, which is just such a powerful play to be able to use to just help us summon out some awesome boss monsters using this card. We then play 3 copies of Infinite Impermanence. Infinite Impermanence is really good as a 3-of in the build. You basically just use this card to stop your opponent's monster effects and also lock down entire columns of spells and traps. So, that's it for the main deck, guys. Let's get in to the extra deck. So for the extra deck, we're going to start with 2 copies of Evil Hero Neos Lord. This card is an insane boss monster that requires an Elemental or Neos or a fusion monster that mentions it, plus an effect monster on the field. And it must be special summoned with Dark Fusion. It cannot be destroyed by battle by card effects, making it ridiculously difficult for your opponent to deal with. And also, if this card is special summoned, or a monster is sent to your opponent's graveyard while this card is on the field, you can actually target a face-up monster your opponent controls and take control of it, which is an insane ability to be able to use to instantly take control of one of your opponent's monsters. We then play 2 copies of Evil Hero Malicious Bane. Evil Hero Malicious Bane is my favorite hero ever created, and definitely comment down below what your favorite is. This card is just so cool to be able to play in the deck, and it's a board wipe on its own. It cannot be destroyed by battle by card effects, and during your main phase, you can destroy all monsters that your opponent controls with attack less than or equal to this card, and also this card gains 2 attack for each monster destroyed by this effect. Also, this card, you cannot declare an attack for the rest turn except with hero monsters, which is totally fine, as that's all we're summoning anyways. We lay a single copy of Backfire. Backfire is really good as a 1-of in the build, and it's very easy to summon using your copy of Dead in Prison, because this card just requires a copy of Avian or Bacenatrix plus a hero monster, and your copy of Dead in Prison can actually be used as a fusion substitute for one of those monsters. But this card is great to be able to summon, because if this card is special summon, you can actually add a Dark Fusion or a card that mentions it from your deck or graveyard to your hand, except another copy of this card. And also, if your hero monster destroys an opponent's monster by battle, inflict 2100 points of damage to your opponent, which is such a powerful effect to be able to use, just to help you do some burn damage. And let's see a copy of Darkest Night. Darkest Night is a really good 1-of in the build, because it just drops your opponent's attack points down with the ability that it must be special with Dark Fusion, and monsters your opponent controls lose attack equal to the total original attack points of the materials used for this card's fusion summon, and can make a second attack during each battle phase, which is such a powerful ability, and it also replaces itself, which is really good. And then I see a copy of Dark Gaia. Dark Gaia is very interesting to be able to summon out to your side of the field, because this card is the card we actually use Nibiru to be able to fusion summon, as this card requires a Fiend type monster plus a Rock type monster to be able to make, and this card gets absolutely massive on the field. We play a single copy of Infernal Rage. Infernal Rage is really good to be able to search out our copy of Favorite Contact from our deck to our hand, so we can step into our copy of Shining Neo Swingman, so we can pop multiple cards on the field. And just a really good play in the deck to be able to instantly bring out Shining Neo Swingman using Favorite Contact, so we can just pop multiple cards on the field, plus it comes out absolutely massive. I'm going to a copy of Sunrise. Sunrise is great to help us search out our copy of Miracle Fusion. Play a single copy of Absolute Zero. Absolute Zero is absolutely amazing, because it's very easy to make in this deck using your copy of Toxic Bubble plus another water monster or another hero monster, which is really good to be able to just instantly bring it out to your side of the field, as Toxic Bubble is a water monster, so you can use it plus any hero monster to make this card, which is so cool just to be able to make a board wipe on your side of the field. As if this card leaves the field, you destroy all monsters your opponent controls, making it it's super easy to go in for game. We have a single copy of Wake Up Your Elemental Hero. Wake Up is just really good to be able to basically use this card as a massive boss mod to help you go in for game. And a single copy of Dread Decimator. Dread Decimator is great in the build as a 1-up, as this card and also any hero monster it points to gains 100 attack for each hero monster with a different name in your graveyard, and if this card attacks a defensive monster who does piercing damage, which is a great effect. And a single copy of Infernal Devicer. Devicer is great to help us grab our copy of Neos from our deck to our hand. And then finally, we play a single copy of Wonder Driver. Wonder Driver is just really good to help us recover our polymerization and fusion spells. So this card is just really good as a 1-up. So, that's it for the deck, guys. I hope you enjoyed. This deck is super fun to be able to play. If you guys have never played an evil hero deck before, you should definitely give this deck a try. It's really cool to be able to play. It helps you just summon out all sorts of insane hero monsters and just go in for game with some of the coolest hero monsters in the entire game. And definitely comment down below which hero your favorite is, because mine is actually Malicious Bane. So, that's gonna be this one, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell in there so you can come part of notification squad, and see you guys in the next video. So later, guys.